Hi, my name is Melissa Agostino, and I'm with Soch 280. I'm doing my online presentation. I picked option B, which was Globalization and Culture. And some of the questions that were asked were, how do you feel, or do you feel globalization is leading to cultural homogenization, hybridization, or something else, and why? Describe cultural homogenization, hybridization, and are they related to globalization? And then provide two examples of hybridization and homogenization. So this is what I did in my paper. First, I started off with talking about globalization. In the book, there's a definition for economic globalization, and it says, economic globalization consists of the flows of goods and services, capital, and people across national borders. I touched more on the values and the movement of ideas. There was both in my paper, but before having this class I didn't realize that ideas and different materials, they flowed so quickly throughout the nation. So that's what I talked about. Homogenization and hybridization, I don't think it's either or for globalization. I think it's a little bit of both, if not other things too. Cultures are being replaced by global cultures and norms, which would be considered homogenization. But at the same time, the people of these different cultures are taking their experiences or other cultures and blending them together, which would be considered hybridization. And I feel that that's happening a lot more often nowadays than it did in the past. The first example I used was the movie that we watched in class about Hawaii, and it talked about, I think it really portrayed homogenization. People are coming into Hawaii, tourists. It's a big tourist trap. Hawaii is not being displayed as it should be. The tourists are thinking that they're big, extravagant luau's and roasts and just surfing and everything and partying is the way of life in Hawaii, which it truly isn't, and the Hawaiian people are very upset with this. So this would be homogenization because the people of Hawaii are losing their cultural experience. Also, once the tourists get bored in the area, they're going to start searching for other remote places, exotic places of vacation, and it's just going to be a continually circling downward because they're going to contaminate one place and it's never going to be able to be changed back. It'll take a very long time to preserve all the habitats, and then they'll move on and move on. So it's not a good thing what's happening to these states and islands. Also, talking about countries and states and cities, I think they should have the opportunity to decline big corporations coming into their area. Most of the time, the government of those specific areas are looking for money, so they accept the proposals, but they're really not taking into consideration what the damage is really causing for the area. They need to take in the local people's opinions. Like, local farmers could lose a lot of crops because big corporations are coming in, so they're going to lose money and lose their job. So obviously there's going to be a mixture of both, but I think the government of the local area needs to take into consideration of what is going to benefit their people the most. Another example that I used was the eating disorder article that we talked about. It was called Television Eating Disorders in Young Women in Fiji, Negotiating Body Image and Identifying Identity During Rapid Social Change. This was definitely something that fit both homogenization and hybridization. These young women were watching westernized, so United States television, and they were portraying the actresses as strong, powerful women. They were very skinny and fit, physically fit, while these Fijian people, they promoted eating and they had bigger body shapes. So these young women thought that they needed to lose these weight to be big and powerful and independent. So I think that would be hybridization, like a key example, because they're taking their opinions and adding it to their old culture. So it's a mixture of both, and that's what they considered the better way of life, so that was their culture. But it's scary to think that different backgrounds are going to be replaced because of the new and up-and-coming cultures and traditions. I would hope not, but they might be replaced with new ideas and stuff. So it could be a bad thing, but it could be a positive thing for these people. Also, another trend that is becoming more and more apparent is media and cell phones. Globalization is a big part of spreading technology and spreading the internet and cell phones. Well, one quote said that while media is spreading rapidly, there is still plenty of room for expansion. Just 19% of the global population is on the internet, and half the world's population has mobile phones. So this is a big increase in numbers in the last 50 to 60 years, and it will just continue to become more and more. And this is because of the core countries are pushing technology and investing more money in technology and media. So these rural countries want to be involved, so they're buying all these products to help them. In China, there's more cell phones than there are people, so that was a big surprise. Globalization is making it easier for everybody to access materials in a rather short amount of time. This was apparent in the Islands of the Living Dead, this article that we read in class. And with speed comes sacrifice, I wrote in my paper, because people are sacrificing the authentic and high quality products just so they can get cheaper and faster products. And I think in the long haul it's only going to hurt them. How does it end? Does it end with all cultural values and products disappearing because they're old news, or advances in technology and the spread of products throughout the world and good are good things, but how far will all this go? Will everything be lost is my question. Also, I read an article that was talking about China, and in about year 2050, it's predicted that China will have the biggest economy, and the United States and India will be third. This is huge because it just shows that globalization is all throughout the world, and it's helping people, although it's hurting people too. China's, supposedly going to be the biggest economy, whereas before they didn't even have McDonald's. So it just depends on how well they work with other countries in the trade industry and whatnot. Another thing along the lines with China is, imagine if we didn't transport goods and services, the ideas, with the goods and services, ideas come, which mixes the cultures and the beliefs. So the hybridization would be lost if we didn't have goods and services. China is becoming more westernized, and I feel this has a lot to do with homogenization. A lot of the core countries have come in to China and put a lot of demands in, like McDonald's are now there, and there's a lot of businesses run through China, and it's a good thing. But then again, is tradition going to be lost? It all comes back to, is it going to hurt the original values of the culture? So in conclusion, I just said that everything is affected by globalization, depending on whether it's homogenization or hybridization. It just depends, but they're all connected between products, ideas, and beliefs, and it just passes from one country to the next. So that is my presentation.